Somewhere in 1976, in the loud thunder of minting presses and the metallic scent of fresh copper, a batch of Lincoln cents rolled off the Denver presses with a destiny no one could have predicted. Workers clocked in and out like any ordinary day. Coins spilled into bins by the thousands. To them, it was routine. To collectors decades later, it became a mystery wrapped in copper and time. And buried in that sea of ordinary change was a version of the 1976 D. Lincoln cent that would ignite dreams of sudden fortune. For years, this coin was dismissed as common. It jingled in pockets, hid in couch cushions, and vanished into piggy banks. But sharp-eyed collectors began noticing something extraordinary. Certain examples displayed strikingly sharp detail, unusually pristine surfaces, and a blazing original color that looked frozen in time. When one of these elite specimens surfaced and was graded at the very top of the scale, the numismatic world froze. Prices surged. Rumors spread like wildfire. And suddenly, a penny people ignored for decades was being spoken of in the same breath as coins worth $1 million that a pristine 1976 D. Lincoln cent, preserved in breathtaking condition, appeared at auction. Collectors leaned forward. Dealers whispered. The bidding climbed with a tension that felt electric. Each raise of the paddle sent a ripple through the room. This wasn't just about a coin anymore. It was about history, rarity, and the intoxicating chance to own something almost impossibly perfect. When the hammer finally fell, the final number shocked even seasoned veterans. The sale cemented the coin's legend and transformed it into a modern treasure story that still echoes today. The secret lies in condition, and condition is where dreams are born or broken. Most 1976 D cents show wear, dull color, or tiny nicks from circulation. But a microscopic fraction survived in immaculate state, untouched by time. These coins possess razor-sharp strikes, blazing red luster, and surfaces so clean they look freshly minted. Experts scrutinize them under powerful magnification, hunting for the slightest imperfection. One tiny mark can slash value, but a flawless survivor becomes a unicorn, a coin so rare and top grade that collectors compete fiercely to secure it. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The Denver mint mark, a small but critical letter beneath the date, must be crisp and well-defined. The portrait of Lincoln should glow with original mint brilliance. The fields around him must shimmer without distracting scratches. When all these elements align in near-mythical perfection, the coin enters a realm few ever reach. It becomes a registry-quality specimen, the kind elite collectors chase for years. And when two determined buyers want the same top-ranked coin, price becomes secondary to prestige. Collectors were shocked as population reports revealed just how few examples existed at the absolute pinnacle of grading. Each new submission was a gamble. Some hoped their carefully saved pennies would join the ranks of the finest known. Most fell short, but every so often, a coin emerged that made experts pause, lean closer, and feel that unmistakable rush. In those moments, a simple cent transformed into a headline-making artifact. One dedicated collector reportedly searched rolls of bank-wrapped pennies for years, eyes straining under bright lamps, fingers blackened with copper dust. Friends laughed at the obsession. Family members shook their heads. Then one evening, a coin slid into view that looked different, sharper, brighter, alive with color. His pulse quickened. He sent it for grading with cautious hope. Weeks later, the result arrived. The coin ranked among the finest ever seen. Overnight, his relentless patience turned into a life-altering triumph that rippled through the hobby. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin whenever a top example surfaces. Auction houses spotlight it. Forums buzz with speculation. Each appearance becomes an event, a reminder that even modern coins can harbor staggering value. And the allure isn't just financial. It's emotional. It's the thrill of the hunt, the intoxicating belief that treasure might still be hiding in plain sight. As awareness spread, more people began combing through jars and collections inherited from relatives. Stories poured in of forgotten coin albums rediscovered in attics and basements. Some finds were ordinary. Others sparked excitement. Every promising 1976 D cent carried a whisper of possibility. The fascination with this coin taps into something deeply human. It's the dream that extraordinary value can hide inside the everyday. A penny passed over countless times might suddenly rewrite someone's future. That idea electrifies collectors aged 30 to 70 and beyond. It turns routine pocket change into a field of potential miracles. And yet, the window for discovery remains open. Many high-grade examples are still believed to be tucked away in old collections assembled decades ago. Some sit in dresser drawers. Others rest in forgotten safety deposit boxes. Time moves quietly around them while their significance grows. Each untouched coin is a silent contender, waiting for the moment it's examined, authenticated, and revealed to the world. This tiny coin carries the weight of a nation's bicentennial era, minted during a year of celebration and reflection. Holding it is like gripping a fragment of American history. When preserved in extraordinary condition, it becomes a bridge between past and present, a physical reminder that even the most common objects can achieve legendary status. The difference between an ordinary 1976 D-cent and a potentially fortune-changing example can be subtle. It demands patience, knowledge, and a trained eye. You must look for blazing original red color, not faded brown. Examine Lincoln's cheek and jaw for marks. Inspect the fields for distracting scratches. Study the mint mark and lettering for crispness. Under magnification, the surfaces should appear clean and vibrant, almost glowing. Many people unknowingly spend these coins every day because they don't recognize what they're seeing. They mistake brilliance for normal shine. They overlook exceptional preservation. And in doing so, they might pass along a coin that collectors would fiercely pursue. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle when he chose to look closer instead of looking away. His story echoes as a challenge and an invitation. To identify this coin, start with the date 1976 and the small d mint mark beneath it. Confirm the coin is a Lincoln cent with sharp, well-defined features. Focus intensely on color. The most valuable examples retain vivid red luster across nearly the entire surface. Tilt the coin under light and watch how it reflects. A premium specimen radiates brightness, not dullness. Check for minimal contact marks, especially on Lincoln's face and in the open fields. Even tiny blemishes matter. If a coin appears unusually pristine, it deserves professional evaluation. Avoid common mistakes that cost collectors dearly. Don't clean the coin, no matter how tempting it seems. Cleaning destroys original surfaces and can erase enormous value. Don't rely solely on casual inspection and poor lighting. Use strong, direct light and magnification. And don't assume a coin is worthless because others look similar. The smallest differences can separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. The hunt for the 1976 D. Lincoln cent is more than a search for money. It's a pursuit charged with suspense, history, and hope. Each discovery story fuels the next dreamer. Each auction result sends a tremor through the community. And every time someone opens a jar of old pennies, the possibility flickers again. Somewhere, right now, a coin is waiting to be recognized. It has survived decades untouched, its surfaces still blazing, its details still sharp. It sits quietly among lesser companions, indistinguishable to most eyes. But to the person who knows what to look for, it represents a moment of revelation, a heartbeat of disbelief, and the chance to touch a story that feels almost unreal. But one tiny detail turned an ordinary penny into a legend whispered about in coin circles across America. In 1984, millions of pennies rolled out of presses at the United States Mint. They looked identical. Copper-plated zinc. Familiar portrait. Nothing flashy. Nothing rare at first glance. But hidden inside a small batch was a mistake so subtle that most people carried it in their pockets without ever knowing they were holding a treasure. It started with a sharp-eyed hobbyist flipping through spare change at his kitchen table. He wasn't searching for fame. He wasn't expecting fortune. He was just chasing that quiet thrill every collector understands. Then his magnifying glass froze over one coin. Something about Lincoln's ear looked wrong. Or rather, doubled the AT. First he thought it was damage. A scratch. A trick of the light. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Under stronger magnification, the truth emerged. The ear wasn't damaged. It was duplicated. A clear double-die error had stamped a second ear onto Abraham Lincoln's portrait. A ghostly twin, perfectly fused into the metal. This was no ordinary mint slip. It was a dramatic, undeniable error that collectors dream of finding. word spread fast. Dealers began whispering about the 1984 doubled ear penny. Experts examined specimens and confirmed it. A genuine double-die obverse error, bold enough to see without expensive equipment. Suddenly, ordinary rolls of 1984 pennies were being hunted with feverish intensity. Collectors were shocked by how visible the error was. Unlike many mint mistakes that require microscopes and expert training, this one practically announced itself to anyone patient enough to look. And that accessibility ignited a nationwide search. One pristine example, preserved in astonishing condition, crossed the auction block and triggered a bidding war that spiraled beyond all expectations. Prices climbed. Phones lit up. Room tension thickened. When the hammer finally fell, the number echoed through the hobby like thunder. A coin once dismissed as pocket change had reached a valuation whispered in the realm of $1 million. As more high-grade examples surfaced, the market realized just how scarce top-condition doubled ear pennies truly were. Most had circulated for years, scratched, and worn by everyday use. Finding one in exceptional condition was like discovering a time capsule. Each pristine specimen sent ripples of excitement through collectors hungry for a piece of modern numismatic history. The doubled ear wasn't a random accident. It was born from a misalignment during the die creation process, when the design was impressed onto the working die more than once at slightly different angles. Every coin struck from that flawed die carried the same haunting duplication. A frozen moment of mechanical imperfection, repeated again and again. One man reportedly found his example in a jar of spare change inherited from a relative. He nearly spent it on coffee. Only a last-second glance under a magnifier revealed the telltale second ear. That casual discovery transformed his ordinary morning into a life-altering event. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on coins like this because each verified specimen tightens the supply and intensifies demand. As grading services authenticated more examples, population reports revealed a brutal truth. Truly flawless specimens were vanishingly rare. Each new high-grade discovery felt like uncovering buried treasure. Auction houses began spotlighting the coin as a modern icon, a symbol that extraordinary value can hide inside everyday currency. The drama surrounding the 1984 doubled ear penny isn't just about money. It's about possibility. It's about the electrifying idea that history can slip quietly into circulation, waiting for the right person to notice. Serious collectors began assembling competitive sets centered around dramatic error coins. The doubled ear penny became a centerpiece, a conversation starter, a modern legend. Prices climbed as stories spread of everyday people transforming spare change into staggering windfalls. Each sale reinforced the coin's mystique and fueled fresh waves of searching. Imagine the tension of scanning coin after coin, your pulse steady, your eyes trained for that single unmistakable feature. Then suddenly, there it is, a faint shadow beside Lincoln's ear. Your heart races. You tilt the coin. The doubling snaps into focus. In that instant, the ordinary dissolves, replaced by the dizzying realization that you might be holding a fortune measured in $1 million. The authentic 1984 doubled ear penny shows a clear secondary lobe behind Lincoln's ear. It's not a smear. It's not random damage. It's a structured duplication that mirrors the original shape. The doubling is strongest on the ear itself, while the rest of the portrait appears mostly normal. This contrast is crucial. Many people mistake scratches or wear for the famous error and overlook the true diagnostic features. A simple copper penny, overlooked for decades, hiding in plain sight inside jars, drawers, and forgotten pockets across America. And the terrifying truth for most people is this. They've probably held one and never even realized it. In 1977, millions of pennies poured out of the Denver Mint, clinking into circulation with no fanfare and no warning that a tiny fraction of them carried secrets powerful enough to shake the coin world. To the average eye, the 1977 D. Lincoln cent looked ordinary. Just another piece of change to spend on coffee or toss into a tip jar. But buried within that ocean of copper were rare, razor-sharp strikes and subtle minting anomalies that would later ignite a frenzy among serious collectors. For years, these coins slept quietly in circulation. They passed from hand to hand, rode in cash registers, and rattled in piggy banks. Then, As grading standards tightened and elite collectors began chasing the absolute finest known examples, something extraordinary happened. A handful of 1977 D-cents surfaced in astonishing condition, preserved with mirror-like luster and microscopic perfection. When experts examined them under magnification, they realized they were looking at coins that bordered on flawless. Collectors were shocked. Dealers whispered about these pristine survivors as if they were urban legends. And when one of these elite specimens finally hit the auction block, the bidding war exploded. Prices climbed higher and higher as seasoned buyers recognized they were competing for one of the finest modern Lincoln cents ever certified. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The final hammer price soared into territory few believed possible for a modern penny, brushing against the realm of $1 million and rewriting expectations overnight. Suddenly, the humble 1977 D-cent wasn't just pocket change anymore. It was a symbol of possibility. A reminder that modern coins could still hold breathtaking value if they possessed the right combination of rarity, preservation, and eye appeal. And the most electrifying part of this story is that these coins weren't locked away in ancient vaults. They came from everyday circulation, from the same streams of change that still flow through American hands today. Behind the scenes, minting technology in the late 1970s was pushing speed and efficiency to new limits. Dies were used heavily, production runs were massive, and quality varied from coin to coin. Most 1977 D-cents show contact marks, weak strikes, or dull surfaces from the moment they were born. But a microscopic fraction escaped this fate. These exceptional coins were struck with extraordinary sharpness, their surfaces blazing with original red luster untouched by wear. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Under magnification, the finest examples reveal razor-crisp lettering, fully defined steps in Lincoln's portrait, and fields so clean they appear frozen in time. These characteristics are nearly impossible to find in mass-produced modern coinage, which is why elite collectors compete so fiercely when one appears. One legendary story tells of a collector who searched bank rolls for years, methodically examining thousands of pennies under bright light. Friends thought he was chasing a fantasy. Then one evening, a single coin flashed differently in his tray. Its color was deeper, its surfaces smoother. His heart pounded as he rotated it under the lamp. He knew instantly he was holding something special. That coin would later grade at the absolute pinnacle of the scale, transforming a few cents of face value into a fortune that most people only dream about. But the drama doesn't end there. As news of record prices spread, a wave of excitement surged through the hobby. Collectors began re-examining their hoards. Old rolls were cracked open. Forgotten albums were dusted off. Dealers reported a surge of customers bringing in jars of pennies, hoping lightning might strike twice. Every discovery story fueled the fire, reinforcing a thrilling idea. Treasure might still be hiding in plain sight. What makes the 1977 D-cent so captivating is the razor-thin line between ordinary and extraordinary. Two coins struck seconds apart can differ by staggering amounts in value. One might be worth a single cent. The other, preserved in breathtaking condition, could command sums that flirt with $1 million. That contrast creates a tension that electrifies every searcher. Each coin flipped under a loupe carries a pulse of possibility. And yet, many priceless details are invisible to the untrained eye. Surface preservation is everything. The highest value examples show blazing original red color with no fading to brown. Their fields are free from distracting marks. The strike is bold and complete, with Lincoln's features standing out in sculptural clarity. When such a coin is authenticated and graded at the very top tier, it enters a microscopic club of elite survivors that collectors will chase for generations. But what happened next stunned even seasoned veterans. As registry set competition intensified, top collectors began battling publicly for the finest certified examples. These weren't casual purchases. They were strategic acquisitions in a high-stakes game of prestige and perfection. Each record sale sent shockwaves through the market, reinforcing the idea that modern coins could achieve jaw-dropping prices when rarity and condition aligned perfectly. Emotion drives this market as much as logic. The thrill of owning the best-known example of a widely recognized coin carries immense prestige. For some collectors, it's the ultimate expression of dedication and passion. And when one of these top-tier 1977 D-cents appears, the atmosphere becomes electric. Bidders lean forward. Hearts race. Every increment feels like a leap into history. Yet the most inspiring part of this saga is how accessible the starting point remains. Unlike ancient rarities locked behind museum glass, the 1977 D-cent began as everyday change. It circulated in grocery stores and gas stations. It slipped through countless fingers unnoticed. That humble origin fuels the dream that keeps collectors searching today. To identify a potentially valuable example, you must slow down and look closely. Start with the date and mint mark. You're searching for a 1977 penny with a small d beneath the date, indicating it was struck in Denver. Next, examine the color. The most valuable coins retain a vibrant, original red sheen. If the surface appears dull or brown, its value drops dramatically. Then study the strike. Lincoln's hair and facial features should appear sharp and well-defined. The lettering around the rim must be crisp, not mushy or faded. Rotate the coin under strong light and look for marks. High-value examples show remarkably clean fields with minimal contact blemishes. A magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe is essential here because tiny imperfections can separate an ordinary coin from an elite specimen. Be cautious of common mistakes. Cleaning a coin, even gently, can destroy its value instantly. Never polish or scrub what you find. Natural surfaces are prized above all else. If a coin looks promising, handle it by the edges and consider professional authentication. Proper grading can mean the difference between a curiosity and a life-changing discovery. Collectors are rushing to get their hands on pristine modern coins because they represent a frontier where new legends are still being written. The story of the 1977 D-cent proves that extraordinary value can emerge from the most ordinary beginnings. It reminds us that history isn't just buried in the distant past. Sometimes it's jingling quietly in our pockets, waiting for someone observant enough to recognize it. Every time you receive change, you're holding a miniature time capsule from the American minting system. Most coins will pass by without incident, but the possibility that one might be a hidden superstar injects every search with suspense. That feeling, the electric mix of hope and curiosity, is what keeps collectors coming back again and again. And somewhere, right now, a perfect 1977 D Lincoln cent could be resting unnoticed in a jar, a drawer, or a forgotten envelope. Its surfaces might still blaze with untouched luster. Its strike might be razor sharp. It could be waiting for the one person patient enough to look closely and brave enough to believe that miracles still happen in everyday change.